Hope everyone's doing well as possibly can with all of our uh, problems that we have in samsara. As as Rinpoche would frequently say that the problems are I'm paraphrasing, of course, but uh, problems are the gateway to liberation or enlightenment. Without the problems, then there's just a perceived happy life, and then we don't try to do anything about it. So it'd be wonderful if we could all see this and rejoice when when we encounter problems, but very difficult practice. So as we begin the session, we get into our comfortable position, bringing our mind inside, because this is internal work that we're doing. It's not so much external, working with our minds. So as we, in a form, kind of disconnect from the external, or put less emphasis on our body and all of our surroundings and all the conversations that we've had today or recently yesterday, um, all the activities that we were doing, even um, our sleep. Most of us have probably just woken up and, you know, drawing the mind inside. And if we put our attention on our breath, it helps bring our mind inside. And in the morning, it's quite typical. Maybe we're a bit drowsy or sleepy. So we need some vigilance, some alertness. So if we observe the breath passing through our nostrils right at the tip of our nose, kind of is uplifting. Whereas if we're focusing on our abdomen and the breath passing or expanding and contracting through the abdomen, it's kind of a grounding. Maybe if we have hmm, a busy mind or a lot of thoughts. So maybe later in the day is good to ground, and earlier for many of us is good to increase the alertness. So we'll just watch this breath at the tip of the nostrils, the tip of the nose, as it passes with the inhale and the exhale. So just do that for a moment or a minute. with our increased alertness, we set our intention that for the next 25 minutes, we're going to meditate. We're going to meditate on the Lam Rim. And we bring to mind our motivation, our bodhicitta motivation. We spent a lot of time contemplating bodhicitta last week. This aspiration um, to reach enlightenment by ourselves alone, but not just for our own sake, but for the sake of all sentient beings, for all the suffering humans, our friends, our family, our enemies, our pets, the insects, and all the living beings that are so small that we can't even see them. So thinking back to our last meditation on developing bodhicitta, um, there's this power or or powerful desire to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all the sentient beings. But this goal can't be accomplished just by wishing for it. So if we take an example, um, if we're on top of a mountain and there's a ski station and there's a good restaurant and they have all these facilities and we very much want to go there. That's where we want to go. We want to go to the top of that mountain, go to this restaurant. Well, we can't simply get there by wishing it. I mean, we can wish for it every day. You say, may I get to the top of the mountain? But actually, to get there, we need to ask someone to take us up there. We need to maybe use our own money. We need to buy a ticket to take the ski lift up there. Maybe we need to take a train, maybe a helicopter. So we need to do something, right? Can't just wish it. It has to come from our own side, and we have to take action. So the work that we must engage in to actualize the desire for enlightenment is the practice of the perfections, the paramitas, right? Which is good because we're human, we're active, and we like to do things. So it gives us actions to take. And to practice the perfections formally, um, it's best that we first take the Bodhisattva vows or the Bodhisattva ordination. And um, these are given rather frequently. Um, so many times, many of us have taken them, and they're normally included with various initiations. And basically, this involves taking the vow in front of a teacher, a guru, a master. And in that context, where we take the Bodhisattva vows in the presence of all the Buddhas and all the Bodhisattvas of all the times. And this is done to abandon the 18 root downfalls and the 46 secondary downfalls. And through this abandonment, one turns their mind away from uh, such negative actions and tries to avoid the negative causes that produce these downfalls. And then by doing that, um, abandoning or avoiding, then one tries to accumulate the positive causes, the positive merit. Those are the kind of the bodhisattva vows, and then we practice these six perfections. So the six perfections, we have giving, morality, uh, patience, um, energy or like action, um, concentration, and wisdom. So we'll meditate on these six perfections, taking them one at a time, um, starting with giving or maybe you could call it generosity. And this generosity is divided into three types of generosity. So the first one, we have the giving of the Dharma. So if one um, gives a Dharma teaching motivated by the wish for some reward or offering of money, gifts, respect, reputation, um, that's not giving Dharma. But if one gives the teaching solely for the benefit of other beings, then that's giving Dharma. That's genuine giving from the heart. And then there's the second type of generosity, so giving of safety. And I think we can all relate to this very well. So if we find any being, human, animal, that's in great danger, especially in the danger of its life. And if we're able to rescue it from danger, this is the giving of safety. Or um, protecting the the being from any harm or destruction. So the opportunities of giving safety, they're not rare at all. It's all around us. I mean, just think about going for a walk, especially in the woods, in the forest. And you may encounter some small creature that lives on dry land, but they've fallen into some water, or vice versa. Beings that live in water, but they found themselves on the land. And if you would just return that small being to its natural habitat with compassion, and you remove it from that danger of losing its life, then that's one way of practicing giving safety, creating merit, abandoning harm. And that's just as you go on a walk through the woods. But one can also go and buy live animals that are destined to be killed, like crickets or worms at the um, pet shop, and you can release them back into nature. Has to be a suitable place, of course, but so this is the giving of safety. And then the third type of generosity is material giving. And this one we probably think about as the most common type of generosity. But it's not the only one, as we've seen. But still, it is a very um, important part of the practice of giving. Whether or not the gift of a material object is real practice of giving, it depends on the motivation. So if one gives with hope of return, such as wishing for a bigger gift from the recipient, or um, good treatment or respect in return, then that's not really giving. That's kind of a form of a business. Give with the expectation to receive something in return. But if the motivation is pure and you wish to help, um, then it doesn't actually matter how much you give, the, how much material, how much value is given. Um, just the just giving a bit of food to an animal, and with this pure heart of giving, with nothing expected in return. then that's practicing the generosity of giving material things. And this one, we can practice it at any time. There's not many limitations. We can always give because it always depends on his mental attitude when giving, the determination to give for the benefit of sentient beings without any attachment, um, without any attachment to one's own welfare. So this practice of generosity is the first of the perfections, and it's the easiest one to do. And then we have the second perfection, morality. So when one takes an initiation, especially a tantric initiation, there are certain precepts that one must follow. So there are these certain precepts that one must follow, and and especially when taking the bodhisattva vows. So it's this vow, and the vow is something to be held or upheld. So you want to retain the vow. You don't want to break the vow. It's something to be mm, held, to be cherished. So when we think of it in the context of body, speech, and mind, we want to hold the vows of the body, the speech, and the mind. So to hold morality of body, speech, and the mind, to keep discipline of the body, speech, and mind. And even if one has not taken any formal vows, there's still this basic practice of morality to follow, which consists of abandoning the 10 non-virtuous actions. And so we have morality of collecting positive dharmas or positive merit. And this means trying to accumulate with our body, with our speech, with our mind, as much virtue as we can through uh, prayers, recitations, prostrations, and all forms of virtuous action. But we have to remember, as we looked at it with generosity, it's also a mental activity. It's not just reciting prayers, doing prostrations, but with the mental intention of upholding the vows of speaking in a moral manner, thinking in a moral manner, and performing physical actions in a moral manner. And it includes all of our study and our practice of the Dharma, which is our principal task to lead us to enlightenment. So that's our morality of collecting this positive merit, this positive Dharma. And then there's a morality of helping sentient beings. And this is when we use our body, our speech, and our mind, and we try to help other sentient beings as much as possible in whatever way we have at our disposal, whatever we can do. And sometimes we think, well, I'm not a Buddha. I um, I can't really help anyone. But it all comes back to, as we said before, the intention. We're helping with the um, right intention to be a benefit, to reduce suffering, even in samsara. And this becomes our practice. So this is turning these vows, turning the morality into um, helping sentient beings. So as we approach the week to come, it's good to keep the two of these six perfections that we discussed today in mind, thinking about, how can I be generous? Even just giving a little bit. How can I be generous to sentient beings? And how can I be moralistic to uphold vows that I've taken, or if I haven't taken the vows that I aspire to take in the future? And hopefully we see that there's many opportunities to be generous and to be moral, and we can develop the practice off the cushion. So we dedicate all of the merits that we generated thinking about these perfections, with the aspiration that the perfections performed, the perfections uh, to be performed in the future, that they limit the suffering of all sentient beings and help um, lead all sentient beings to enlightenment. So make that heartfelt dedication. Thank you, everyone.